Labour under Starmer has done a lot to reassure Britain's wealthy, and it appears to be working. John Caudwell is the founder of Phones for You, and according to the Sunday Times Rich List, is worth 1.5 billion quid.
Over the last 2 or 3 months, I've looked at the Labour manifesto, looked at what they stand for, and gradually, slowly and grudgingly, after 50 years of Conservative support, moved their way. The real clincher was on Friday. I was in a business conference that they were holding, and there was 50 chief executives of some of the biggest companies in the UK, representing £4 billion worth of market cap. Sorry, yeah, it was much more than that. The number was 4 trillion, not 4 billion, 4 trillion pounds of market cap. And the, not camaraderie, but the empathy from Rachel Reeves and the other people in the Labour Party and these senior businessmen was clear.
So you heard that. This is a man who has supported the Tories for 50 years, right? So even Tony Blair and Peter Mandelson were too left-wing for him. So Peter Mandelson, who said a New Labour were intensely relaxed about the rich getting filthy rich, right? That was still too left-wing for that billionaire. However, now the empathy of Rachel Reeves towards Britain's chief executives has won him over.
What Keir has done, as far as I can see, has taken all the left out of the Labour Party, and he's come out with a brilliant set of values and principles and ways of growing Britain in complete alignment with my views as a commercial capitalist.
That's actually perhaps a more honest message than you'll hear in much of the Liberal press at the moment. Keir Starmer has done more than Tony Blair to expunge the left from the Labour Party, and that's meant that its objectives are completely in line with commercial capitalists. So not just sort of merely consistent, not something that commercial capitalists can tolerate and work with. No, it is exactly the same as the interests of commercial capitalists. And it's important sort of repeating, including once committed Tories, right? And Caudwell certainly counts as a once committed Tory. As well as backing the party for 50 years, he's been a major donor. In fact, Caudwell was the party's biggest donor, giving them £500,000 in 2019. And he wasn't shy then about his reasoning for his Tory support. So earlier in 2019, he'd pledged he would move to tax-free Monaco if Corbyn were to get into power and bring in higher taxes. Now, Monaco would be a fitting destination for Caudwell, who clearly has a taste for luxury. The billionaire owns an £85 million Mayfair townhouse, 2 super yachts, a private jet, and a £12 million manor house near where he grew up in Stoke-on-Trent. But are Caudwell's political judgments as valuable as his financial assets? Well, as well as backing Boris Johnson, Caudwell was a big fan of Liz Truss, who tried to help the super rich but ended up crashing the economy. And on Newsnight, co-panellist Isabel Oakeshott challenged Caudwell on his shifting political commitments.
I think it's fine to change your mind. You know, the facts change, personnel change at the top and so on. So I think that's fine. But it does strike me as if you are a little bit all over the place on who you've supported. I mean, did I hear correctly?
Nobody less all over the place than me that you'll ever
did you support Liz Truss's,
ever know in your life.
Did you support Liz Truss's agenda?
I'm direct. I did, and there was a reason for that because
really
I was so
radically different to the economic agenda of the Labour Party.
No, it wasn't.
It
because,
really is.
No, look. Liz Truss was going for growth, GDP growth.
Yeah.
She got it all wrong.
Yeah.
I did not support Rishi. The only alternative was Liz Truss or Rishi. I chose what I view to be the lesser of the two evils, and she screwed it up and she made a mess of it.
Right.
That's it. That's fact. You know, how many times do we get a political decision wrong? Now, what you're saying is I've probably got it wrong with Labour. Well, if I have, God help.
God help. Being a bit naive.
No, I'm not naive at all.
Obviously, I don't want to lecture you on that because you're a very successful guy.
If I'm naive, how did I build a business in a tough environment for 20 years that made a 1.5 billion sellout? Was I the luckiest guy on earth, or did I fight like fury?
How much of that was under a Labour government?
Or did I fight like fury, and did I make shrewd, commercial, wise decisions?
I'm 100%
I love that sort of rhetorical device. There's nobody less all over the place in the whole world than me. Right? It's very Trumpian. He always says, there's no one more honest in the whole world than me. Right? It's like, why don't you just say, I mean, you're clearly a bit all over the place, right? You went from backing Boris Johnson to Liz Truss to Keir Starmer. Now, that doesn't completely delegitimize your point of view, but to say you're the least all over the place person in the whole entire world does make you sound a bit childish, I suppose. I mean, we should be clear. Clearly, this guy is smart. He didn't inherit all his money. He came from a working class background, built Phones for You out of nothing. He's clearly got a lot of business acumen, right? The guy's not an idiot, even if he does speak in a sort of a bit like a boastful child. Might he be a little bit cynical, though, right? So she's saying he's naive. Perhaps it's, well, it's not the Labour Party who are being naive, because I think they know what's going on here. But perhaps people who are impressed by his support for Labour, because it means, they're a strong party of government, are being a little bit naive. Because could it be that this billionaire, with his £95 million or £85 million mansion in Mayfair, who keeps considering going to Monaco, isn't really aligning with the Labour Party because he thinks they'll be best for the country, but is aligning or sort of standing behind the Labour Party because he's pretty sure they're definitely going to win the next general election and wants to have an in with them, right? That's often how these things work. There's no point in being a billionaire who comes out in favour of Sunak right now when his party's going to win 100 seats. If you're someone with sort of a sense for business, sort of where's the right place to invest, you're going to invest in Labour right now because you're going to invest in the winning team. Ash, Labour have been fairly celebratory of John Caldwell sort of coming to their aid, sort of at the beginning of a BBC report with the political editor yesterday. He sort of said, Labour have been keen for me to come and do this interview. Right, so they're pushing this guy out there. Is his support something they should be, celebrating?
I think that it's something that is potentially a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, when you're riding high in the polls and he wants to stick the boot into the Conservative government, and he also maybe wants the ear of senior Labour Party policymakers, all the interests are in alignment. But let's say in government, Labour perhaps want to do something different. Maybe they do want to fiddle with how capital gains tax works or something. Then you've got this man who you've empowered to wax lyrical about your excellent relationship with business, to come along and stick the boot in against you, because there's nothing that the media love more than I didn't leave the Labour Party left me narrative. I mean, Maureen Lipman, I think, left the Labour Party about 17 times. It didn't stop her from getting a newspaper write-up each and every time. So I think that that's something which is potentially very short-sighted. I think you're right to point out that he's a canny operator. He's positioning himself well for an incoming government, but that doesn't come for free. And I think the person who's got the more to fear from it is in fact Rachel Reeves rather than John Caldwell.
I think when you're worth £1.5 billion, there's not much you'd fear, right? You're not going to run out of money, and you can sell one of your super yachts. You still got another one. He doesn't seem like a man to me who's going to be worrying too much. So I do sort of take your position that probably Rachel Reeves has more to lose out of this. John Caldwell is, of course, though, not the only billionaire who's backing Keir Starmer. Jim Ratcliffe, he's even richer than John Caldwell. He's a chemical boss, and with a net worth of £12 billion, is currently Britain's second richest man.
The Conservatives now have had, a fairly long stint, and they've put forward a whole series of prime ministers that haven't been terribly successful, really, to be honest, the last 4 or so. So, I think the UK, everybody in the UK now, you can see that the mood in the UK, everybody's ready for a change. They've had enough. So it's, I think I've met Keir Starmer a couple of times. I like Keir. I think he'll do a very sensible job.
That was chemical boss Jim Ratcliffe, who might have even less skin in the game than Paul Caldwell. And that's because he already left Britain to, you guessed it, tax-free Monaco. Ratcliffe left the UK in 2020 when he was then actually the country's richest person. It was especially controversial at the time because Ratcliffe had been a prominent supporter of Brexit, who was all for Britain's independence. Then when we leave the EU, he's like, oh, I'll piss off now. Ratcliffe's move to Monaco followed in the footsteps of Sir Philip Green. It's unclear whether Labour would put out a press release if Mr. Green decided to back Keir Starmer. Now, for balance, we should say that others are reporting some millionaires are in fact afraid of a Starmer government. So CNBC have reported that millionaires are abandoning the UK in droves. The claim comes from research by the Henley and Partners Consultancy Group, who say Britain will experience a net loss of 9,500 high net worth individuals in 2024. It would be double the amount recorded last year, itself a record high. The only country they project to see more millionaires leave is China, which is a much bigger country, presumably has many more millionaires. The CNBC article says this: the projections mark a stark turnaround for Britain, once viewed as a prime location for the world's super rich. Henley, a consultancy that tracks migration trends, noted that between the 1950s and the early 2000s, the country saw swaths of rich families relocate to its shores from across mainland Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, often to invest their corrupt earnings in Mayfair and the like, not necessarily something to be celebrating. However, Henley and Partners say that is, of course, now changing. The direction of travel is in the other direction. This trend began to reverse, they say, around a decade ago, as more millionaires began to leave the country and fewer came in. Notably, during the 6-year period from 2017 to 2023 post-Brexit, the UK lost a total of 16,500 millionaires to migration. Provisional estimates for 2024 are even more concerning. Ash, we've got sort of one data point from this consultancy. Often these consultancies, I think, are just looking for a news article, so I'm never sure how much we should trust them. But I suppose their information about the people who actually did leave last year probably is more accurate than their projections. We're hearing a record number of millionaires are leaving. At the same time, these billionaires are backing Starmer. What's going on? How shall we make sense of it?
I wonder if part of it is that Britain isn't actually a particularly attractive place to be super duper rich if you are super duper rich. Britain is a good place to deal with your money, to use the financial services of the City of London to, you know, I'm not saying hide your assets, but basically hide your assets. It's got a great real estate market. If you're super rich, means that you can convert cash, which devalues, into property, which appreciates in value. But it's not, it wouldn't be my first choice if I was mega, mega rich, because we've got a kind of weird hybrid where, yes, you've got, quite a big public sector, but it's also in decline. So if you are super duper mega rich, you can't go entirely private for the entirety of care, for instance. There isn't private healthcare for A&E and for intensive care. So you may as well go to a country which has got even less of a public sector, but has a much more expansive private sector, which is capable of catering to every single one of your needs. I mean, you might prefer to live in a place where you can have armed security. You might prefer to live in a place where, I don't know, maybe it's nicer to sail around on your super yacht. You might prefer to live in a place where rates of taxation, particularly for things like capital gains and for income, are even lower. But all of this is speculation on my part. I'm just trying to think about, why would you, if you're a millionaire, leave this country? I mean, what do you think? Speaking as a multimillionaire, Michael, why would you want to leave?
If I were a multimillionaire, only my civic duty and my real patriotism would keep me in this country, paying British taxes. Otherwise, I could imagine living in a yacht somewhere. I don't know.